What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, episode number 7 of our MV Agusta F3XX track bike build. In today's episode, we're going to be installing fork springs directly on the bike. We're not taking the forks off the bike to do this mod, so let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so we are over here at my desk. So first up, obviously, we're going to need our fork springs. So these are Andreani Evo fork springs for our Evo cartridges. Right here, you know, what is it, 4 coils down. You probably can't see it on screen, but there's a label right there that tells you the spring rate. These are labeled 10.3. Again, the fork springs that are in the bike right now are 9/8, and I'm pretty much maxed out on preload and compression, so I needed stiffer springs, so I ordered these 10.3 springs. So you're gonna need those. So next up is this fork rod dampening tool. We have 5 different sizes. So over here we have 10 and 12 millimeter by 125. And then over on the other side, we have 10, 12, and 14 by 1 on the other side. And basically, this is used to thread onto the fork dampening tube. You thread it on through either end, and then you use it to pull and push up on the dampening rod to bleed any air out of the system. It's also helpful when we're just replacing the fork springs, because a lot of times the fork dampening rod is shorter than the overall length of the fork, and once you take the fork cap off, the rod will disappear down into the fork tube and under the level of the fork oil that's in there. And this helps to regain that or capture it so that it doesn't disappear down in there. So it comes in really handy. Next up is our fork spring compression tool. You'll need a 3mm Allen wrench. You'll need a 25 millimeter socket. You'll need a 17 millimeter socket. You will also need a 17 millimeter wrench. You are going to need both of those. You need a ratchet, of course. And this little tool here, again, from Motion Pro or Amazon, it helps to, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you'll see how we use this in a little bit. And then, because we are going to change these fork springs on the bike, we're not going to take the fork off the bike. We are going to need some straps just so we can compress the forks while on the bike, and I'll show you how that works. Lastly, we're going to need a 6mm Allen wrench or socket and some paper towels. All right, let's head on over to the bike and get going. All right, welcome back, guys. So there we have it. We're all strapped down, as you can see. Not under super amount of tension. We just put the strap on the clip-on, went straight down vertical to the table. Same thing on the other side, and we just ratcheted it down a couple of clicks just to create a little bit of tension so that when we remove this cap, it'll go pop and pop right off. Now let me bring you in a little bit closer, and I'll show you the top caps, and I'll show you what we need to do there. So these are the tops to our Andreani fork cartridge insert. So almost every sport bike fork cartridges have 3 adjustments. They have compression, rebound, and spring preload. Most of the time, spring preload is on top, and then you'll typically have compression or rebound on the top and compression or rebound on the bottom, typically one or the other. On these cartridges, everything is on top. So spring preload, compression, and rebound are all done on top. So there's no adjustments on the bottom of the forks. However, Andreani separates compression from rebound. So over on the left fork, we have compression. I don't know if you can see that, but it's marked with a C here. And on the other one, we have rebound marked with an R here. Before we start tearing into this and taking things apart, we need to record where we are with our current settings for compression, rebound, and spring preload. I've already done that with mine, but basically you'll want to grab your 3mm and probably put a wrench on here, and you'll want to turn this, doesn't really make any difference, clockwise or counterclockwise, and we want to count the number of faces or complete turns. So you'll set this in here and you'll turn. That's 1 turn, that's 2 turns, that's 3 turns, 4 turns, so forth, and you'll say, okay, great, I'm 4 turns in or 4 turns out depending on which way you went. You'll do the same thing with spring preload. You'll put a 17mm wrench on the top of this, I guess it's gold or brass looking nut, and you'll count turns or faces. Then you'll come over here to the rebound side and you'll do the exact same thing, and you'll record those values. That way you'll be able to, once we reinstall the springs, we'll be able to put these settings back exactly where they were. So I'll pause the video right here. Once you've done that, come back and we'll continue. All right, so now that you've recorded all of your compression, rebound, and spring preload settings, what we need to do is we need to take all of the tension out of those. So we'll grab our 3mm again, and this time we are going to turn counterclockwise, and we're going to take all of the compression out of the bike. I'm going to do this until it stops, and once it stops, don't force it. It'll stop right about here. Don't continue to force that. We'll come over here to the rebound side, and we'll do the exact same thing. And we'll take all of the rebound out. Now we need to grab our 17mm socket and ratchet and do the same thing with preload. Okay, so we're going to grab our 17mm socket and ratchet, and we're going to turn this counterclockwise and take out all of the preload. And we'll just go until it stops, and then stop there. Don't force it. Do the same thing with the rebound side. All right. Now we need to grab our 6mm Allen socket or wrench, and we need to loosen up the top triple clamp pitch bolts for each fork leg. So there's one over here on the left side, and then there's another one over here right behind our brake fluid reservoir. So I'll need to remove the reservoir, or at least maneuver it out of the way so I can get to this one. But we're going to loosen up the pinch bolts here and the pinch bolts here. There's no need to loosen up this center pinch bolt around the steering stem nut. So we're just going to do this one here. All right. We're just going to set that like that. And I'm going to loosen that up like so. I can put this back in here. Okay, so now that that's done, we are ready to spin off our top cap here. We'll want to grab our 25mm socket and our wrench. And actually, I'm going to use an extension just so I can get proper clearance here. Like so. So now you can see our preload spacer here. We got a couple of holes on either side. That's where this tool comes in. So this tool goes down over the cap, and these two ends correspond to the two holes over here on the side of our preload spacer. I'm going to create a little bit more tension on these straps, because what we need to do is we need to compress this preload spacer down enough so that we can expose the nut, the 17mm nut that's under here. And right now I can tell you I don't have enough space. So I'm just going to ratchet the sides down a little bit to give us a little bit more room. There we go. Okay, so now you can clearly see the spring that we're going to be taking out. So we grab our compression tool, we line up the marks on the holes, like so. And then we grab our capture tool, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to put pressure downwards on this spring, compressing the spring. It will expose a nut that's under here, and as soon as we see that nut, we're going to slide this tool up under the nut, okay? Just like that. Now we grab our 17mm socket and our 17mm wrench. I'm going to put the wrench under here, socket on top, the gold portion, and just unscrew them. It shouldn't be super tight. Now we can screw the cap off. All right, so this is where this tool comes in, and we're going to be using this side over here, the M10 M12 by 125. Just put this over here, grab some threads, doesn't need a whole lot, and then that's it. Now we can create downward pressure to remove this. And you'll notice, like I told you, the rod is starting to disappear down into the fork, but because we have our lengths here, it's not going anywhere. So now we can take off our preload compressor, grab some paper towels, and we can start to remove our spring. And I don't know if you can see that, but right here is the marking on our springs, and it says 9.8. So we're just going to take this out. So, spring comes out. Grab our new spring, find the markings. Here's the markings on our new spring. Drop that in. Then reinstall everything in reverse order. So our spring preload compressor. Before we install our cap, we have to prep this. So even though we've removed all of the tension, to reinstall it, Andreani says we need to set the compression, or on the other cap would be rebound, but we need to set the compression to phase 4. So what does phase 4 mean? So we have our compression adjuster right here in top. All that means is we take our 3mm Allen, we set it in here, and then we rotate this clockwise 4 complete rotations. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should be like that, almost completely flush with our preload adjuster, just like that. So now this is prepped and ready to be installed, and we'll do the exact same thing on the rebound side. So now to put our cap back on, we need to do everything in reverse order. So we need to compress the spring, slide our tool in under the net so that we can remove our rod, and then we can put the cap back on. So pull the rod all the way up, compress down, and then slide the tool under the nut again. Like so. Remove the rod. Take our cap. Spin the cap all the way on. Grab our 17mm wrench and socket and tighten them up. They don't have to be super tight. These pieces are aluminum. So that's it. They don't have to be super tight, guys. And once this is screwed into our fork leg and the pinch bolts are tightened, the upper triple clamp will hold everything in place. So again, not super tight. So now we can remove our holding tool here. Again, push down, out, slide that up. Now we can remove this tool. Now, because we've created pressure here, we have straps, we've created pressure here, we can't physically push this down far enough to screw into the top of the fork leg. So what we have to do is we have to grab our straps and release tension to bring the top of the bike up to the cap. Okay, so I've released all of the tension on the straps and we still don't have enough, we haven't closed the gap here enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Pitbull front headstand and help this out by lifting the front of the bike via the front bottom triple clamp. Okay, so now we've closed the gap here, as you can see. So we'll grab our 25mm socket and we'll start to screw things down here. Make it snug. Grab our 6mm Allen. Tighten up this pinch bolt again. And the left fork leg is done. Now we're going to switch over to the right fork leg and do the exact same thing. Well, all right, guys, I think that is it for episode number 7 of our MV Agusta F3XX track bike build. We have our fork springs all installed, super quick on the bike. Didn't have to take the forks off or anything like that. But yeah, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, or smash the video if you didn't like it. Until next time, guys, take care.